Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. Your sponsor, Luinish Masam Yakushom Nav Hasitzchok. We're holding in Makos Daf Tezvov. We're starting at Yudal and base in the bottom. Says the Gemara. Omar Rabba Babarchan. How much the last line? Got to the last line in Yudal and base. Omar Babarchan Rabbi Yechanon Koloi Sase Shekodmoi Aseh Loikim Olav. What is it referring to? As we're going to see throughout this daf, there's a concept called Lav Shenita Klase. What does Lav Shenita Klase? It says, don't do it. If you do it, so then here's the essay to fix it up. Lav Shenita Klase, we don't get Makos in it. Now here you have Lav Shekod Mayase. What is Lav Shekod Mayase? The Pashup shot is the essay is written before the Lav. Says places no. Why not? Because even if the S is written before, sometimes it can be Lav Shenita Klase. He brings an example by Gzelo. It says, V'heishiv Gzelo shel goes out, and then it says Lo Yisigzo. So there the S goes first. It's not if the S goes first, but if it's possible to do it first. Person, you can't return a Gzelo if you didn't steal. So it has to come after. But if it says, like we'll see in our daf, it says to take all the tumei and take them out. And then if someone comes in, he's chayav, he's alive, taking them out can be before. Like as when they put the Beis HaMikdash, they take it out. So, and we'll see a few other examples in the Gemara. So our case is an essay that comes before the lav, not only because it's written before the lav, but it actually can be done before the lav. So on that, Rabbi Yechanan says, Kolai says that Shekol Ma'aseh lo yikim. You do get Makos. You get Makos. Even if it's not lav Shenita Klase, so you get Makos. Says the one that is wrong with Aleph, Amru Loi Amarto. So I told Rabbi Yechanan, did you say this? Amru Loi. I did not say it. Amar Abo Hay Loikim Amru. He did say it. The Ksiv of the Sanin. I have the Pasuk and the Mishnah to back it up. Now, here it's an interesting point. That Rabbi Yechanan denied the fact that he said it. Or denied the fact that he said it. So, as we'll see, the reason why he denied it, because Rashi says Chozaboy. He changed his mind. He's going to explain that he had a problem with this prat.
Why did he say Yomar Chozaboy?
Oh, and here some of the brought down. I forget. I think it's Marsham says it that he seems over here that he's saying something which is a lie. But he wanted to say that I disagree with this concept. This concept was a mistake. So I'm not backing it up. That's what he meant to say. That's Poshem Shat. So he says, Ksiva V'Sanin, I have the Pasuk and I have a Mishnah. What is it? Ksivo, it says in the Pasuk, V'Shulchu V'Namachaneh V'Lo Yitamu Es Machaneim. Send away all the Tmeim and they won't make a tumor. So here you have a Esed because before the Lois Esed. Send away the Tmeim and don't let them make a tumor. Esed before Lois. That's the pasuk. Tanino, and we learn. I mean, you can't say the pasuk without the Mishnah. If you bring only the pasuk, how do you know you get Makos? I want to tell you get Makos because you have the Mishnah. Habal Mikdash Tome gets Makos. That's our Mishnah. That's our Mishnah. One of Elum Aloiki, one of them is Habal Mikdash Tome. So you see that Esther should come in alav, like him alav. You don't get Makos. So well, my time is called over. So why did Rabbi change his mind? He's not backing it up. Should the kashal oinis? He had a problem with oinis. What's oinis? Someone who was oinis aisha, a naira, rape of a naira. What's the thing over there? He must marry her. So what does it say? Tanyo oinis shigirish. If you have oinis with divorces, im yisraelu machzir v'enoleke. If it's Yisrael, just return her back. What's the thing about oinis? If a person rapes a naira, he must marry her. You get what? But it says lo yichol sham. It says so he's not asked to marry. Can divorce her unless she doesn't want him. But he has to marry her. Now he raped her before. It was mamzer. So now he has to marry her. The shidduch in Christ says she wants to marry him. She doesn't have kavod in a shidduch. So I don't want to marry this woman. You have to marry her. Now it says if he divorces her, if he's Yisrael, just returns back. No harm, no foul. But if Kohen But if he's a Kohen, he gets Makos because he can't return. He's divorced. She's divorced. Here, what says first? It says the pasuk is V'nosan lo yisiyeh li'isha lo yuchol shal kol yamav. He has to marry her. That's an asset. He can't divorce her. Here the asset comes first. He first marries her, and then he can't divorce her. So it's an asset she comes love. So why doesn't he get Malkus on the love? Says the I'll tell you why. Why does it say Lo Yisi Elisha? It says he should be his wife. He doesn't tell me that. Learn from Moiti Shema. What's a Moiti Shema? Moiti Shema is person married a woman. After the first night he gets up, says, by side. This woman, she was with somebody else. Comes the father and brings that the Pashup Shah and the Pasuk comes on, he proves that the husband was wrong, he shows the blood, the husband now has to pay, and he stays with the wife forever, he can't divorce her. So there it says also Lo Yisi Elisha. Look for Moiti Shema. Say, well, Moiti Shema, Moiti Shema did not do anything. He just said something. He didn't do any maise. Still, he has to be with this woman for the rest of his life. Oines, he did a maise. He raped her. Look, Koshiken. So that says Lo Yisi Elisha. Why does it say Lo Yisi Elisha b'oines? So that's the reason. You know why it doesn't get malchus when a person is oines? Because Lo Yisi Elisha is extra. I already know Lo Yisi Elisha from Moiti Shema. Lo Yisi Elisha is extra to teach me that if he did divorce her, he doesn't get malchus. Says the Gemara, you can't learn this from Moiti Shema. Why not? Remember, we saw that already earlier in the Yechezkel. Moiti Shema is unique. Moiti Shema, you get both malchus and mammon. He gets lashes and he has to pay. Usually it doesn't happen. So you can't learn from there. Okay, so this is what you're right. I can't learn Oines Moiti Shema. But let's do the opposite. Why Moiti Shema says Lo Yisi Elisha? He has to marry her. Ligma Moines. He doesn't get both malchus and mammon. He has to be with her for the rest of his life. Moiti Shema lekoshaken. Why does it say Lo Yisi Elisha by Moiti Shema? You don't need Moiti Shema. So say it's for oines. They has to marry first because we know that already. This extra Lo Yisi Elisha is to tell you that after he marries her, he will, if he divorces her, he returns her back, doesn't get malchus. That's Lo Yisi Elisha. Says the Gemara, one second. How can Moiti Shema learn from oines? As we said before, oines is doing something. He's doing a maise. Moiti Shema is not. Hello, Lo Yisi Elisha Moiti Shema Asher Yishtohi. Another reason. Lo Yisi Elisha Moiti Shema is completely unnecessary. Why? Because she's already his wife. What is Moiti Shema talking about? It's not talking about a woman he's already married to her. He gets up in the morning and says, oh, well, 1 second, she folded around. She's already married. I don't have to say Lo Yisi Elisha, she's already his wife. Just say Lo Yichol Shach, I can't divorce her. I have to say to marry her. Hi, so Lama Ne'emar. So I have to say to marry her. So you don't need a Moiti Shema, he's already his wife. So you have to say, refer it to oines. Which already it says, say it's after he divorced her, you have Lo Yisi Elisha, that this pasuk teaches he doesn't get malchus. So more of no 1 second says, well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I need for Moiti Shema. You're right, Moiti Shema is already married. He's already married. So it said they don't have to tell it to marry her. I'll tell you why you need it. Because Moiti Shema is not allowed to divorce her. What happens if he does divorce her? Will he get malchus or not? Maybe he's telling you he remarry her and there's no malchus. That's what it says Lo Yisi Elisha. Same way in Echanam, you're right. It says, okay, oines will learn from it. You're right. It says, that what? That if he divorces her, he has to remarry her. And oines will learn the same thing. If he divorces, he has to remarry her and there's no malchus. Says the Gemara, how do you learn from there? If either you want to learn, you can't learn from there. That Moiti Shema you don't get malchus because he didn't do a maise, but oines did a maise. Again, the same question was said before, according to this gears. kol yomo be'omod v'achzer. Chen ki also having Rabbi Yechanan kol yomo be'omod v'achzer. What it says over there? It says there. It says the Lashon Posuk is. It says v'lo yisiel leisha tachas hashenu lo yichol shalko kol yomov. It says kol yomov. What's kol yomov? So here, Toys brings you two pshatim, named Rashi. The pshat is that it says lo yichol shalko kol yomov. He can't divorce all his life. All his life. It's a one-time event. He divorces her once. It means if he divorced her, he has to remarry her. Or it's lo yisiel leisha kol yomov. She'll be his wife his whole life. Of course, she's his wife the whole life. What it's a chiddush. If he divorces, he has to remarry. So the fact that it says kol yomov tells you that even if he divorces, what his solution is not Makos but remarry. So it's especially right. You're right. Even the boyonis s is written before the lo yisaseh, and if so, maybe she get a Makos. But you have a special because of kol yomov. The kol yomov is a guy that his solution, his default solution is if he divorces, he will remarry. Says the Gemara, so, but I have a different problem. We learn all the lavim for chasim. What's the chasim? What says in the pasuk? Leisachsom shor b'disha. For there you learn all the lavim. So there it says, it doesn't say esse. So one second. That doesn't make sense. You want to tell me because there's also an esse over here. That's why it's going to be less. I just added an esse. Why that esse will make it worse? According to that, every lav shita glass. What's lav shita glass? Lav shita glass means you don't get a Makos, you get an essay. You get it's an essay. Because I added an essay, it could be worse. I'm like, when you have a lav shita glass, so the point is that the Torah is telling you, you know what's the solution of the lav? The essay. Usually, what's the solution? The solution means what's the result of the lav? Makos. So you know the solution of the lav is esse. That's what lav shita glass is. Right? Look at Lashon Rashi, third line. So if it comes only after, it means that's what it is. But if I have an esse before, which doesn't mean that, the esse comes first. So now I have a lav, I get Makos, like any other Makos. So the fact it's not exactly like taksu doesn't bother me. So what does the Gemara say right now? The Gemara learned this whole drasha. We brought up Yechezkel that said if a esse goes before a lav, you get Makos on the lav. Hi, what about the case of oinus? Just because of oinus. Oinus it says kol yomov. It's a special thing that you don't get Makos over there. Says the Gemara, ha nichel mando amar bitloy v'loy bitloy. Elamando makiv v'loy kiv ma'ikil meimar. What do you mean? What are we talking about? So first of all, let's understand the machlekes. What is bitloy v'loy bitloy kiv v'loy kiv? When I have a lav shenita klaseh, for example, I have a esse. In what way do I tell you that the esse is going to be, a person is canceling and removing the esse? I mean, he has a lav, don't do it. So the solution is this. So when exactly do you tell me that the esse is gone? So what does it mean the esse is gone? Right? And it says, as long as he could mikayim the esse, kayim, right? As long as you can mikayim the esse, so then you're saying, okay, so he could mikayim the esse. So for example, a person is not allowed to divorce the wife, divorce the wife, and he says, you know what? I'll remarry her. You have to remarry. The person tells you, go remarry. So okay. He says, no, not now. When? I'm going to wait a year. Can you give him Makos? Yes. No. Oh, so that's the machlekes. The machlekes is kimoy v'lo kimoy, bitlo v'lo bitlo. What does bitlo v'lo bitlo mean? Bitlo means you took away the option of marrying her again. How do you take it away? Tibi?
Kill it.
Okay, that's one option. What is that option?
That's the Rashi.
No, Rashi doesn't mean that.
I'm sorry?
Rashi says, what do you do? How do you cancel it?
They're making a nether?
A nether, very good.
Yeah, but
Okay, we should so guys knows Makos. Knows Makos, they didn't say that. What?
You can't even out in something else in the Torah. So with the Torah,
No, let's leave it aside. We're going nether you could do only shvur you can't. But let's say he goes on and says, so what does he say? He says, I does a nether, I'm never going to marry her. Oh, now you can't marry her. So then you give him Makos. He was mivat of the option. But as long as it's not mevatel the option, you don't get Makos.
But some
That's
it's not going to matzah and Pesach, right? Well, let's say
okay. So we have a problem when you have a neder works on mitzvah shekos over
It
time.
works, but the problem is
Okay, so here's the problem. It's chaf kurs. Has to mevatel the neder. But here he does. If he went and took away the option to marry her, so then he gets Makos. But if not. That is bittul v'lo bittul. The other one holds kimur v'lo kimur. What's kimur v'lo kimur? Kimur v'lo kimur means you have to go and be mekayim the essay. In order, the lav, you could take away the lav by mekayim the essay. If you're not mekayim the essay, immediately you get Makos. So here is a machlekes. Rashi is discussing. Rashi learns you have to go to Beis Din. Meaning Beis Din give him an option. Say, no, you're going to marry him or not. Taisa says it has to be toch kedei dibur. Has to immediately do it. And they don't have any time. Look at this Rashi Taisa over here. But according to, let's take Rashi, which is easier for us to understand. Basically, give him an option. They say, okay, you divorced the woman you're oinus, no problem. I mean, that's a problem. You didn't allow. You won't get Makos if you marry her. Are you marrying her? No, Makos. Now, how does that work? Because Rashi explains on with base. The way it works is because that's how Rashi explains it. And Tosis says it a little differently, but Mashal says they mean the same thing. And the pshat is your result of what you did is a Makos. Makos. You can get out of it. Very good. You can get out of it by doing an essay. Essay is in lieu of the Makos. But what you're getting is Makos. The Malno and Bitloy, they say no. Your obligation is essay. If I took away that option, then I get Makos. As we'll see all that in the Cheshbon and the Gemara in a moment. So the Gemara says like this: Bishlomo, what is the Gemara asking about? Here is a very interesting machlekes Rashi Tosis as well. According to Rashi, the Gemara is asking this, or when we just shakla that we had a shakla regarding oinus. So I said like this: Bishlomo, according to Mandom, it says bitloy. So meaning the only when you cancel it, that's when you get Makos. If not. So then, by oinus, we have a din, she call yom b'al Yechezkel. But Mandom ekivul ekimoy, meaning he has an option to marry right away. If not, it's not kol yomov. They're giving him one time opportunity. It's not kol yomov. Michael and Meimar. That's what Rashi was asking. Look what Rashi. The last Rashi is a long Rashi, but I can see the whole thing. But you're saying, Hadomet kol yom b'al Yechezkel, asisoy lav shnitik le'esek, ve'echavto le'kozman le'kiyum esek kol yomov. You have the whole time, whatever you want to fix it. And basically, Malki Moiso. One second. What?
Mishpat is a best. Even according to the Kimberlake.
Because the Torah gave you. The Torah said the solution.
Has to be
so, by the way, this is the way.
To carry out the Einish the same.
No, but there's no Einish. The Torah told you, and that's what Rashi says. Once again, Rashi says that all over Shas. Whenever the Gemara says Lav Shitik Laseh, says Rashi, the essay is the key. This is your punishment. There's no other punishment. That's the idea of bit of libit. What it means, what's the solution of the lav? Essay. You took away the option. Do an essay, you get a Makos. But as long as you didn't take away that option, you don't have a Makos. Because you don't punish that.
Where does Rashi
So,
learn that you have to be Makos?
What do you mean?
No, Rashi says you have to. If somebody else kills her and you can't marry her,
no, so it's not his fault.
It has to be yours.
There's a Malchus.
It's not his fault then.
But why year? He can say, I'll marry him 20 years from now. Why is
Yeah, that's what Rashi says. How do you come out? Come on, beloved, the glass. So what's it put to the essay? Chayav alav, loy b'des potur, shalav toy bitul esevin nugmat shivat esebi adayim, bitul oilom, shoy chayes kaimoid, iklamir kol yomov, yishot hakonach. Bechazot shein vatul essay. And again, Mindir does the neder. Sheloy tene men another shela fark. Come on. Elamad dani kim says sapoto kim chayev. If you say that's kilim, shayese tikun shelavu vein alav to you bitulese. Shemisha shover alav nigmar. Avlehese nitala kora malchus. Hese can take away the malchus. Kshevola beisin or yekayim hese vi poter or yelke like a neighbor kol yom abel v'achzakai. Kedamat. Shilazim yachol beisin yilku. So what do you mean kol yom? That's how Rashi explains. Tosis says, no, we're not talking about the case of oinus. Going back to the Ikar Sugya. What's the Ikar Sugya that we started with? Talking about going out of Beis Hamikdash Betumu. It says someone who was a Beis Hamikdash Tameh, so does he get Makos? So said Rabbi Yechanan then changed his mind. He said, yeah, because it's es shekadmu lelav. So therefore, even though it says the take away from the machane, it was loshen yishluchu min hamachane, and if that's a still you get Makos on the lav for a tonnet. That's our mishnah. The tonnet sheichas lamigdosh, he gets the tonnet. So and then as the Gemara, if you say bitloi bitloi, meaning I always an s as a replacement of the lav, and a reges in lav nitik. So then you're saying here it's different. Here you will get Makos. But if you tell me kimyo, which means I need to get out of the machane right away. If I don't get rid of the machane right away, I get Makos. So every lav sheitik, let's say you get Makos. So you're saying this s is different. Why is this different? Because it's s shekadmu lelav. It's not different. That every lav sheitik will be that way. That's what Tosis explains. And when basically brings it, if you want to see it inside, look at the Zvov on the base. The Tosis is along. Basically, these two doesn't go together. Towards the end of the middle narrow lines, or middle, not the widest lines, the middle lines. It says the line starts with the words like Kach Pirish Rav Shlomo Medarvish. That's what Tosis brings. Hanichol ador bitlu karat kafta deleil ledagim asidin da'atom me'abal amigdosh telav shegdimu le'eser loikim olav. Ein loikim. Temishu shenitak le'eser v'kol kama shlo bitlu echoshev nitak kon kama shviyodoi. V'im ken kivan shem yutzel atzet de'ach loki aloi mashkachat bitlu emadom atan elu shel bitlu. If you hold bitlu, I understand why by migdosh you want to tell me it's not. This will be different. It will be lav shenitak le'eser. Emadom atan lekimu lekimu im ken echi daik lav shekidmu le'eser loikim olav. You would have bigger right from our Mishnah. Our Mishnah tells you that you get Makos on the fact you didn't leave Beis Hamikdash. Oh, you see, it's not Lav Sheitak Laseh. Who said? Even Lav Sheitak Laseh, you do get Makos if you didn't do the answer right away. So the discussion Rashi says if this question of the Gemara goes to the Ikar Sugya or on the Raya that we brought from Anoinus. Just to mention, not going to go into it because it's a little hard in the Cheshbon, that the many Rishonim here have an opposite Girsa. And they want to say that only works if you hold Kimo v'lo not a Bitl v'lo Bitl. Opposite. Only if you say Kimo, so then I tell you that you have, that you're differentiating Esther Shekadmu l'lav, lav shetek l'Esther. If you say it's Bitl, there's no difference, we're not going to go down to the Cheshbon just to know that there's such a Girsa in the Rishonim. So the Gemara asked, let's go back to the question of the Gemara. Says the Gemara, you told me, according to Rashi by Oinis, that there's no Makos over here. According to Tosis of Beis Hamikdash, that you do get Makos the Raya. That's how Rashi take say. Bishop, you hold bitlo me. I always have the option to do this. I understand your Raya, or I understand your question. But if you tell me that it's kivul lekivul, I have a one-time opportunity to do this. If I didn't do the opportunity, so I'm out. So maybe it's let's take this explanation. So maybe it's Lav Sheitak Laseh. So what is the structure of the Gemara? Says the Gemara, the Tzvah base, midu time elabich. We talk according to Abich. Amalei Abich letano tani bitloi chayo v'loi bitla poter. Abich is the one to say clearly that by Lav Sheitak Laseh you use the word bitl, which means what is bitl? Again, remember what is bitl kibur? Bitl means the only way Lav Sheitak Laseh gets Makos. It's only if he canceled the option to do the essay. TV says he killed the wife. But the Rashi says he did a nether to the wife. He said, I'm not going to marry you. I'm doing a nether not to marry you. So then it's allowed that he was canceling the essay. If he didn't do Lav Sheitak Laseh, if I don't cancel, it's not a problem. So the Gemara, well, how do we know? Where do we see the Rechon said it?
It doesn't work. It's cool when you
Is it a bigger? If he kills, he got a bigger problem.
The Tani Tala Kabit Abirchon. It says in front of Abirchon. Very good. Kol mitzvahs lo yisaseh sheyesh bakum eseh. The Tano, right? Tano, in those days, you had in every bespedush, you had you didn't have a computer. You had a person who was the computer. He was the one who remembered all the shmuz. So the Tana told him, he was telling the following lashon. He said, Kol mitzvahs lo yisaseh sheyesh bakum eseh. Any lav sheitak laseh, ki yemos shibo. If he did this, potter. If he didn't do, it's chayav. So he took both sides of the rope. He said, if you do it, so then you're potter. You canceled it, you're chayav. So he told him that doesn't work. You can't take both sides. Either you say kiyam v'lo kiyam, so Rabbi Yechezkel says, Omer Mai Kalmait, kiyam potter kiyam chayav, or bitel chayav v'lo bitel potter. You can't say kiyam yes and bitel no. It's either kiyam yes and kiyam no, or bitel yes, bitel no. Which means, either pshat is that you don't get makas until you cancel the essay. As long as the essay is an option, you don't get makas. Or you say that you get makas the moment that you're mekayim the essay, that you didn't mekayim the essay immediately. You have an opportunity to mekayim the essay, one opportunity. Let's say according to what Rashi says, you come to Beis Din, they give you one time opportunity, you're going to do it good, and now you get the essay. So it said that tells Rabbi Yochanan to the Tano, Tani bitlu v'loy bitlu. So Rabbi Yochanan holds clearly bitlu v'loy bitlu. Hashem lo kashoy ma'kiva v'loy kimui. Says no. It's you have that one time opportunity. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, the only way when Allah should take last say Makas, if he cancels the option, as long as he has the option 20 years, he doesn't get Makas. Rosh Hashanah says no, you have one time opportunity. Kima v'loy kim. So Gemara come iflagi. So Gemara be'asor sofik come iflagi. Depends on Ashur Sofik. Why? How can you give, when do you give Makos? The only way to give Makos, what do? Don't do it. Give Ashur, you give a warning. How do you give a warning to such a guy? Tell the guy, if you divorce your wife, let's take the case of Rashi. Ines, if you divorce your wife, you'll get Makos. I'm not going to get Makos, I'll remarry her, no problem. No, if you'll divorce your wife, and you'll cancel the option to remarry her, so then you'll get, but that's only if you cancel the option. Divorcing won't cause it. Says Rashi, okay, but maybe we'll give him a straw when he does the nether. When I cancel the option, says Rashi that he brings, that's the big discussion in the Rishonim. Rashi says you can't do that because the straw needs to come when a person does the lav. When he does the lav, that's when the straw has to come. So when he just spices lav, not when he does later, when he does the nether. When he's doing the law, which means he's divorcing his wife, for example, you can't give him a straw because I'm not sure what's going to happen later. Maybe later he'll do a nether. He didn't do the nether yet. So here he's not getting Makos. It's straw suffering. But if you hold the straw, you could get Makos in that case.
You can learn at Sad, which is an interesting svar. The punishment for somebody who's honest is that he has to marry her and he can't divorce her. That's his punishment.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. If he negarish her, he violates the punishment, and then he gets Makos. That's
interesting.
But that's the way I look at it. The Oynish is like...
There's no reason to say it. No, if you have a... Right now, the Gemara didn't say that.
How the Gemara didn't say that?
Well, I said back in so you see the Gemara did not learn that way. Right? The Gemara learns you have a lav. The lav is don't divorce her. That's the lav. And the shaila is, how do you rectify the lav? Do you rectify the lav with Makos or with asset? What's the essay? The shaila is the essay you give the option for yourself to marry or you have to marry right away. That's really two options. So that's what Ashur Sofik. So he says, Rabbi Yochanan holds Ashur Sofik is Ashur. So he mainly calls man that it's really on condition. What's the condition? If you divorce your wife, you'll get Makos if you will do a nether. If I won't do a nether, what?
He divorced her, so what are you giving him?
No, before divorce. He's about to write a get, he gives a get. So, warning.
Who's giving him the warning?
The Tuadim. Tuadim come and say, Mister, you should know, this wife is anusu. You have a lav. The lav is not to divorce her. If you divorce her...
What happens if he uses a Gerushin who don't know she was...
Okay, so what happened? What happened? So then we have to figure out what happens. In this case, talking about it, we do know. All the cases, we're talking about a case. When do you get Makos? You have to have a straw. What's that straw? Come to Tuadim and say, we warned him. We told the guy, if you're going to divorce, you get Makos. So how can you warn him to get Makos? Maybe he will remarry her. Shalamai, it's a suffix. That's called Shua Suffix. Shua Suffix means, can you warn on condition? It's not a clear warning.
Yeah, but if we learned that Sad, the Oynish is Malchus, he can rectify it by marrying her again. So they want him to get Malchus.
Exactly.
It's around it.
That's what Shloki shows. Shua Suffix, Lo Shua
Not a Shua Suffix. As far as like...
Right. That's because of you can't get it. According to Rish Lakish, there's no way to get Malchus this way unless you say, keep over the kim. Exactly what it really says. That's exactly what in the Gemara. So Rish Lakish. Lakish says, Shua Suffix, Lo Shua. So the only way you can give a straw is, and that's what Rashi goes. Says, I don't understand Rashi. He says about straw, it's not the same Rashi we have. Because Rashi is very clear. He tells like this. If you divorce, you get Makos. Who's not getting Makos? That's your punishment. It really says, your punishment will be get Makos. Now you could, in lieu of Makos, you could remarry her. But your punishment is Makos. So that's not a Shor Sofik, it's Shor Zvadai. If you divorce her right now, you get Makos right away. When you talk about, so according to B'nei Shor Sofik works, so it can be B'nei Bitli. According to Mishlakish, it doesn't work, so it has to be Kima V'Lei Kima. Says the Gemara, V'azol Tamay, they go to Shitasim. Deid Ma Shvua Shoyichel Kikar Zay, a little bit like Doma to the next Pesachta. So we can be starting in Shabbos next week. It's like a Shavuos. Says I'm doing a shvua that I will eat this bread today. Past the whole day, you didn't eat it. He doesn't get Makos of that. Why not? Why is it want to design with Aleph? Shudav elav shein b'maiseh. Cholav shein b'maiseh loy kibolov. You know why he doesn't get Makos? There's no ice over here. What did he do? He did eat. He's not doing anything. He's just refraining from eating. You can't give Makos for not doing. You know what what Yechezkel says? What the Shor Sofik? What are you going to warn him? The warning is, if you don't eat, you get Makos. What do you mean if I don't eat? You only eat in 5 minutes. Maybe I'll eat in 10 minutes. Where is the Shor Sofik? Right? He says the Sofik is, I don't know if you're not going to eat the bread. So he says over here, look at the last Rashi, Daf Tezvav with base. Rashi says, how is he doing shvua? He's not going to eat. He did not eat. So he ain't got mice. He has the whole day. So wait till if you don't eat, you get Makos. What do you mean? I have 5 more minutes. You don't eat now. I have 2 more minutes. I have 1 more minute. It's almost impossible to be covered. It's a Shor Sofik. If you hold the Shor Sofik Shvas Shol, the only reason this is a problem is this is not a good thing because Ein B'Maisa. If you hold Ein B'Maisa is you get Makos in it, if this is Shor Sofik, Shlokish Abiach go l'shitasa. That's what we say. We'll continue this discussion, Be'ez Hashem, in tomorrow's daf.